What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Hey, we back. What's going on, Star? How you doing? Welcome back to Starchasers. Girls talk ball. As you know, we've been going for a little bit, y'all. You know, it's the off season. We gotta take a break sometime, right, y'all? Everybody need a break. You know, as you guys know,
break. That's right.
Yeah, we just took a break. You know, just keeping it real with you guys. How you doing, Star? Before we get started, to get into your content, how you doing?
Doing great, Mickey. Glad. Hi to everybody in the chat. Glad to be back. Y'all know that we took a month off of this show, and then I've been like 2 weeks off of my other show with Big Game James, but glad to be back, guys. As Mickey said, you know, got a lot of content to discuss. I mean, but it's really been kind of a slow off season. If y'all looked at my description, I said it's been rumors and rumors about rumors. You know what I'm saying? There's been so many rumors and I literally hate the off season. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the off season because it's just all of these opinions and think pieces, and we think this is gonna happen, but it's like they don't really know what's going on. Like, so exactly. I just saw a report right now that said Jane Slater reports that there's been no talks at all between Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I'm like, listen, I don't believe nothing Jane Slater.
Nothing. I thought I was the only one. See, I don't even follow her on Twitter or X, you know, whatever everybody's calling it. I don't even.
For anybody who
I see her NFL Network, just keeping it real.
Jane Slater has been frozen. She's been frozen out of the media locker room ever since 2020 when she was the one who went in there and got all the. Remember, we got all those free agents and they started talking trash about the organization and Mike Nolan and stuff like that. And so since that's happened, like Mike McCarthy has not really allowed Jane Slater in the building.
Right.
And on top of that,
you can tell by some of the questions she asks when she does get a chance to ask the media, and you can see the reaction from McCarthy.
You can tell from McCarthy, like she was the one who asked, like, why should the fans buy in? And he was basically like, STFUB word. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't stand Jane Slater. Like, I can't stand her either because she the same one that put that article out right after the Green Bay game, said one of the players said that Dak gets through his reads to something crazy. It's like, what are you talking about?
Only 5 players came back and talked to the media. Who's really?
Only 5 players came back. They said sometimes he goes through his reads too. Like, and why would you report that and then claim I didn't mean any harm? I didn't mean like
you got it in black and white on print on Twitter. So,
she's frozen out. We should know from last year, like as far as like contract negotiations and stuff like that, the media is frozen out because last year when we got Stephon Gilmore, got Brandon Cooks, signed Trayvon Diggs, the media didn't know anything. Exactly. The media didn't know anything. The news just broke. Right. So I'm not really worried or concerned about Jane Slater saying that no talks as far as she knows have been done. That's all. No talks as she knows. So,
exactly.
Anyway,
Before we jump too deep into the content, welcome everybody into the building. Jameson Taylor, always in the building. Excuse me, on my bad. Kelvin Hicks, what's going on, family? How y'all doing tonight? Thanks for joining us tonight on this wonderful Wednesday evening. A regular in the building as usual, Eastside Hero. Yeah, we heard your boy Schultz talking up, or trying to talk up, Cowboys. It's all season. No one talking about the Texans. So somehow, some way, they got to bring up, Dalton Schultz as a Cowboy. All of a sudden, it's news now. He was hardly getting pressed when he was here. So
exactly, he was a loser when he was here. Nobody wanted to interview him. Right. Now he gets you idiots sign him to a 3-year deal, and he thinks he needs to open up his mouth and start talking. But whatever.
Right. Everyone's waiting to see what Schultz got to say about the Cowboys locker room.
Exactly. It's a circus here, and we can't practice because people are watching. People do tours, and they're watching us through the glass, and all. It's like, Schultz, just shut up. Right. But to be clear, guys, I'm not saying that what Schultz is saying about the culture issue is not true. What I'm saying is it's coming from Dalton Schultz.
Right.
Okay. This is the guy who literally blocked everybody who even said his name on Twitter. Had no.
Thank you.
Money had no.
Money.
no thick skin at all. So it's not surprising.
Exactly.
I just didn't work out because people were looking at me. It's like,
right, Mr. Catch and Drop Schultz. You know what I'm saying? No, like, hey, let's just say we see a big difference in our Yak TE. Jake Ferguson.
Exactly. Can't even get his foot down in a playoff game. Like, Schultz, just shut up. Just shut up, Schultz.
Darcy, you have to remind me of his last, his legacy. That's what you talk about. Your legacy with the Cowboys. One of your lasting plays in Cowboys land was you couldn't get your foot down.
You couldn't get your foot down, so we had to go through the stupid Zeke at center play. Like, come on,
right?
bro.
But you're speaking about the Cowboys culture in the locker room. We're
so many times, like him getting bullied off routes. I mean, just cut it out. I know you think you're something because you finally got you a deal over there with CJ Stroud. Congratulations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But please stop it. Please stop it.
Right. And no, Jay Money, we're not shooting the messenger. We're just actually, well, just I'll say me. I ain't gonna say we, but I'll say I will. I'll say I'm not gonna say there's no truth to Dalton Schultz's comments about. I mean, because we did see the players' grades about their grades on the locker room, on the weight room equipment, on the trainers. I think the Cowboys were bottom 2, bottom 5. And how they were ranked, as far as their the trainer. So we can understand the environment that that he was speaking about. It's one thing when if you were Jason Witten, on that kind of platform speaking about how the Cowboys locker room was. But you know what I'm saying, and Schultz, like you said, shout to Schultz, he did give us a good year before he did get up out of here. But like I said, I don't think we're really looking to Schultz's word about how the culture. If we're talking about the actual culture of the Cowboys, I don't think we can look to Schultz's word about about him speaking on it.
Yeah, and it's like I said, no one is saying what Schultz is saying because obviously what he said has been said by multiple former players. So it's like I'm not saying that the message is wrong. It's just like coming from Schultz, and then also like I'm sorry, but the Texans franchise organization is nothing to be proud of or be bragging about. Like that organization was a trash hole before D'Amico got there. And, D'Amico turned things around fast. Y'all got CJ Stroud. Congratulations. But let's pump the brakes because the Texans have been a disaster. Right.
Yeah, I think it's more, I just think it's more so the timing. Like you say, you just happen to be a part of the Texans now. You just got your contract. You know what I'm saying? Now you feel it's, now it's all of a sudden it's a culture topic with the Cowboys. So now you just feel the timing is right for you to be speaking about your former organization when all last year you didn't have a word to say about the Cowboys, even right after you left. I didn't hear anything.
Exactly. He didn't have a single word to say about it, but all of a sudden now you got this new contract and now you need to go on the Pat McAfee show and culture of the Dallas Cowboys. It's just like, so whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's fine, Right. And like I said, like it's not that what he's saying is wrong because many former players have come out and said like it's obviously a culture issue in Dallas, right? So that's not the issue. It's just the issue is it's coming from Dalton Schultz. So it's just like okay,
right. And that's actually a good segment. That's actually I'm sorry. No, I'm gonna say
it's come from a player at the Texans. From the Texans is like, and y'all didn't do shit. Y'all went to the divisional round. Okay. We did that here. So pump the brakes. It's different when somebody like Chidobe Awuzie who said it when he went to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like that's different with Chidobe Awuzie or somebody Cole like Cole Beasley. It's different, right? Because Cole Beasley was here for a very long time with us. Then he left. He went to the Bills. I think they went to the AFC Championship. And Cole Beasley and Dez, they've never said specifically there's a culture issue in Dallas. They have said Jerry and them, they play politics when it comes to contract year. That's what they have said. This is a part of the culture.
Exactly. Right.
No one has ever really, besides Chidobe Awuzie, where he said, I think he just said like in with the Bengals, it's just like more, it's not bright lights, it's not about the bright lights, and I might get that, you know what I'm saying? But here's what I got to say. I did make a tweet a while ago and I'm like, listen, we're the Dallas Cowboys. We're never going to not be the Dallas Cowboys. We're always going to have media. We're always going to, we've been the face almost of the NFL since the 90s, actually before that, right? Since the 70s. So we can't help what we are. We earned our right to be America's team. Regardless of what anybody says, we earned our right. Like we earned our 5 Super Bowls. Yeah, we did. Right. Just like I got in the back. Five
right.
times. So nobody can take that shit away from us, regardless of how stupid Jerry and Steven are. Like we earned who we are. You know, right. So it's like, with that being said, it's just like, listen, like, we know that at the end of the day, like, there's issues, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about culture issues and stuff like that, specifically with the team, because I think a lot of players, since we've been on our hiatus, a lot of players have come out and kind of spoke about what they feel like the culture issue is. I don't think personally, like, the culture issue I think there's a discrepancy between the culture issue amongst players and then what the content creators or the fans believe the culture issue is. Because see, you got the players' perspective, which Carson talked about the culture issue with Stephen A, right?
Right. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, we can definitely start there. Like, that's really, we just kind of see the discussion open up. Like you said, it's really just been a quiet off season. And me and Star were talking about this off camera, how last year we didn't really see like a lot of talking from, we saw Mike McCarthy kind of in and out with the end of season presser saying, what we're going to do. The Joneses were kind of deferring to Mike as far as decision making and, what he wouldn't talk about with the game plan because, they kind of left it in his hands last year. So going to this year, of course, he's on his last year of his deal. Maybe they kind of see it, they have more of a leverage. So they're kind of speaking out a little bit more, maybe their plans going in 2024. Of course, they're not speaking openly about contracts and things like that. But we did, like Star was saying, they asked the same question, the culture question, is there a problem? We saw Steven being asked that. We saw Jerry being asked that. And really just the start of it kind of happened with Parsons having Stephen A come on his podcast, and he also went on Stephen A's podcast as well. We saw CD talking about a Star actually kind of mentioned when we were talking about off camera about how really they were kind of honing on accountability. That's kind of why I asked the question here, like it's kind of been really just to talk about culture, but is it culture or is it just accountability? These players stepping up. That was really a big topic at the end of the season and really going into the off season. Have these players stepped up? Have these players, and we saw Parsons and CD speak about, what they could have done better in the game. What they thought could have came better from the coaches. As far as game plan. Parsons talking to Jerry, at the Super Bowl, saying maybe what he thinks the team needs. As far as that side of the ball. So it just been kind of like a snowball effect. Kind of start from there and just kind of spread. We saw Gilmore and Cooks talking about it. with Radio Row. After D-Law came out with his comments about being burnt out. And I kind of just, how do you feel about that, Star? I think we kind of touched on it, I know it was a while ago, as far as D-Law's comment talking about being burnt out.
Actually, I don't think we even got to discuss that because I don't think we've gone. So with the whole D-Law, with the whole D-Law, let me say this real fast because I have lost my train of thought when I was talking about the culture, but there's a certain way that it's going to be in Dallas Cowboys land because that's what I was trying to say. Like, we are the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to have tours, we're going to have tours. It's going to be bright. It's bright lights here. That's what we are. We earned that. We're the biggest sports franchise in the world.
Period. So if you're going to play for Dallas Cowboys, you have to understand that. There's no getting away from that. And I think fans, you kind of got to get your head around that because we don't care about that, though. That's not really the issue. That's what I'm trying to say. The bright light in the media always, and all the perks that people get and all the commercials we get on and the media talking about us nonstop. Yeah, they're going to do that because, again, we're the biggest sports franchise in the world. Right. So they're going to do that. We pay a lot of people's bills. The issue comes into play with the accountability. And so that's when it comes accountability, and also a part of the culture issue is how our front office plays the media game when it's time for contract negotiation. Right.
Those are the two issues in Dallas. Accountability with players, which means not allowing the history of the Dallas Cowboys and the pedigree and all this stuff to get to your head to where you think you're something before you actually are something. What's up, JC? Glad to see you in the chat tonight.
Hey, JC, how you doing? Good to see you.
So that's an issue. And so how I felt about D-Law's comments is this. What D-Law said was wrong, period. That's my opinion. He should not have said it. He had to have known, and a lot of people are giving D-Law a little bit more slack than I'm giving them, because I'm like, D-Law, you've been in the league since 2014. We had one of the most embarrassing losses in NFL playoff history.
Right. The first team ever to be beat. Don't forget. Unfortunately, we can't forget we're the first team to ever lose to a 7 seed.
Yeah, we're the first team in the NFL history to lose to a 7 seed. Okay, so for you to because I hear some people saying, like he was caught off guard, and I don't understand how you was caught off guard. You went up there to talk to Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith, two of the biggest public Dallas Cowboys haters, right? So what exactly did you think? Did you seriously think that Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe was just going to sit up there and talk to you about you being a Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate?
Right.
And if you think that after you've been in the league for 10 years, I'm questioning your intelligence. I think this doesn't have nothing to do with how D-Law plays on the field. I'm very aware of D-Law's play on the field. Love D-Law's play on the field. So it has nothing to do with that, but it has to do with just like your mental capacity. Because it's like, for you to think that you could go up there and talk to Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe, and they weren't going to bring up how the defense looked abysmal in that playoff game, like, it's crazy to me. And then to say,
hey, I'm gonna cut you off, Star. Look, B-Bird in the building. What's good, fam?
What's up,
Very
B-Bird?
good to see you. How you doing, fam? Hey, a legend in these Cowboy spaces. We really appreciate you, man. We really appreciate you.
Right, B-Bird. He said culture and accountability goes hand in hand. Right. Yeah, I agree with that. So I think, they coincide. That's what I'll say. They coincide.
Right.
But it's all about clearly defining so people know, like, what exactly are we talking about. But anyway, when it came to D-Law's comments saying we retired, like, that's just probably the last thing on the list that you should say. Right.
And I'll say one thing that also didn't like about his comments is just kind of like I was kind of mentioning earlier, just the effect it had on, I don't say the effect it had on the other players, but just kind of everyone else's comments that kind of came after that. We saw Parsons kind of say, "Oh, I don't like you just said, Star. Like, I don't know why he said it. He shouldn't have said that." Gilmore and Cooks, "Oh, I don't know what tire it is," So it's just not saying that I'm not saying there's like any kind of divide in the locker room, anything like that. But like I said, I just don't like too much chatter in the offseason. I don't like. I'm just like I said, it's just me personally. Like we just see a lot of people, like a lot of people talking, giving their opinions. It's just kind of like. It's one thing that, everyone had different opinions, but I want everyone to be talking about their performance in the game. Like, it's one thing. Okay, you say you're burnt out, but why? Like, why were you burnt out? Why were you guys playing that? Why were you having mental lapses? Just like you're saying, like you have your longevity in the league. Even down to Gilmore and Cooks. Yeah, they can offer their opinion on how game plans. Of course, it's not up to them to have a game plan executed, but you have the longevity. You're a veteran. If Mike McCarthy was taking, your advice early in the season, hey man, it's playoff time, step up. This is how we got to do it. Hey, talk to Quinn halftime. Hey Quinn, I've been in a situation before. I've been on a team with Super Bowl. I've been in situations where, hey, we've been playing man all year. Now we're playing zone. Like, why are we switching up, dog? Like what's going on? Like, if you have that veteran experience, like, there's got to be a time where these players, if y'all quick to jump in the media and talk about your brother, why you shouldn't have said something, then where were you guys that talking to the coaches in this playoff game about maybe trying to change their mind about what they're doing? You know what I'm saying? That was kind of my comments with the comments.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying about that, because it's like, where was the passion and stuff like that during the game on the sideline? And see, that's kind of what like Parsons and CD talked about. how, they did not step up as leaders.
Exactly.
During the game on the field. They said there were so many times in season, Parsons said, that we knew we needed to fix stuff, but we just kept overlooking it because we kept winning. And that's the issue. And you see, and some people believe that Parsons was taking a shot at D-Law when he was like, this is the culture issue that I'm talking about. But I don't think he's taking shots at D-Law, but he's taking shot at the perspective of players not holding themselves accountable. You know what I'm saying? Of the leaders not holding the players accountable. Because it's like, D-Law, you're supposed to be the leader of the defense, right? You're the main leader. Micah's second, you're the number one.
Exactly.
When you go up there on national television and you say, we were tired. First of all, y'all's whole mantra all season was Super Bowl.
Right.
Super Bowl. Since last offseason, it was nothing but Super Bowl. That was all that was in y'all's mouth. And then you look like that versus Green Bay, and then you go up on national television and you say, "Oh, we was just tired. Our legs."
Right. Like there wasn't two other teams still playing or four other teams at the time still playing in the playoffs.
And it puts, like, a lot of people haven't talked about it, but that put a bad stamp on the team, you saying it.
Right.
Like, people won't talk about that because they love D-Law and D-Law is so real. And I get it. I get D-Law is so real. I get that he's got the best ever. I get all of that. That's all great. I understand that. But imagine somebody putting a label on you that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, tired, that's definitely not it. You know what I'm saying? We was tired. You make yourself look like
y'all just didn't show up.
Word, but you make yourself look like PUSSY. You make your whole team look like that.
Right.
Like, that's what you made yourself look like, a PUSSY on national television.
Right. Shout out to Bruce. Shout out to Bruce, got the chocolate juice in the building. What's up, fam? How you doing? Yeah, just like you said, what happened to Carbe Omnia? It's like Star said, like, you're supposed to be seasoning everything, but you tired and the wild.
That comment made it just, first of all, the fans was already feeling like we were fries after that game. Then you come on national television and make us look like bigger fries. You could have simply said, "Hey, man, we got Green Bay got the best of us that game."
Exactly. The best. Right. You didn't even give them credit, but we tired.
Right. We gave them credit. We did the best we could, and we didn't get the results. We're disappointed. We're angry. We're still. Yeah, I know the fans are pissed off, but hey, we're pissed off at our performance, and we're going to be better going forward. So my suggestion with D-Law, and this is what I said. I said this wasn't the first time D-Law continues to give teams bulletin board material.
Right.
And that's also the issue that I have. It's the constant bulletin board material, and you're not able to, you're fueling fire that you're not able to put out. And the fire that you're fueling is affecting the whole team. That's my issue. And, when people were saying, and I did say this, I said, even if Michael was taking a shot at D-Law, there is time for a change, because the culture, the hot boys, all that shit that D-Law had been fostering for all these years, where has it gotten us?
Right.
Because, to be honest, our defense has been the weakest link of our team since 2016. Our defense has always been the weakest link of our team, period. We thought since 2021 that, like, our defense was our strength, right? We were supposed to go into 2023 with our defense being our strength, but that was quickly like, no.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Even
and I think we can definitely, like you said, our defense definitely stood out in those moments. But I think we can attribute those numbers to when, number one, when Dak was out, they had the fire. When Dak, I think it was 5 to 6 games Dak missed. So of course, in those moments, they had to step up. They had to step up, they had to get those turnovers.
Right. But what happened as soon as Dak got back?
Exactly.
As soon as Dak got back.
And see, they came off as a historic defense, but because those numbers, and also the same thing on the offensive side. Not saying they padded numbers, but when they had those blowouts, when they were scoring 40 points from the Giants, they were scoring 30, 40 points on the Jets. So yeah, we can say that those numbers aren't necessarily what the team looked like overall for the whole season.
Correct.
So no, we can't.
Anytime we played a good team, the defense folded. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like they folded again and again and again.
Right.
Remember when we should have won the Miami game, but who folded?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the offense has struggled.
Game-winning drive for Tua.
The second Eagles game. The first Eagles game.
Yep.
Dak Prescott played that. The media was so mad because they was like, Dak Prescott played outstanding, and y'all lost.
Exactly.
Because the defense giving up 28 points.
Right. To the Buffalo Bills, who really did have a run game before last season. 200 yards.
Y'all bet James Cook looked like prime Emmitt Smith.
Right.
Y'all gave Jordan Love a first-time playoff quarterback a perfect passer rating. That has never happened in the history of the NFL. So this is the issue that I'm talking about. Like, I think that's what Michael was kind of getting at. Not taking a shot at D-Law, but he's like, this is the shit, excuse my language, but this is the stuff that I'm talking about. Like, we have this front, and Michael said it himself. He said the teams that we was blowing out, he said they wasn't that good. Like, let's be honest, wasn't that good. Because anytime we faced a formidable team, we folded. Now, last year, not last year, but in 2022, that was not the case, right? In 2022, our defense played very well in the playoffs. And if our offense was right, i.e. if we didn't have Kellen Moore, we'd probably make the NFC Championship game in 2022. So I can concede that with fans, right? I can concede that 2022, the defense, for the most part, even though they started having struggles at the end of the season, second half of the season, they did show up in playoffs. I can admit that. Right. 2021, I know y'all looking at the score, but the defense, the penalties that couldn't stop the run, there was a lot of issues in that game.
Yeah.
So we can't just look at the box score and say, defense played great. Yeah, I know the score wasn't that high, but when you look at it, San Fran wasn't even trying to score. They was trying to control the game, and that's exactly what they did. You get what I'm saying? But ultimately, it's looking like there's an accountability. There's an accountability issue, culture issue among the players, right? Now, when Dak said how I feel about Dak's comments, like I don't really know what y'all wanted Dak to say. Right. He's at an event that's about children's cancer, and they randomly asked him, "You think Cowboys have a culture issue?" He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is my locker room. I fostered the culture." So, no, because all during the season, they kept saying how their brotherhood was so close and tight. Right. So you expect the leader of that to say, "Nah, it's shit. We suck. We don't hold each other accountable." He wasn't gonna say that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. He was like you said, he was the leader. He was doing rallying his receivers. He was the one taking guys on trips, trying to build that chemistry with them. He was spending that. When he did that one time, trying to get his receivers on the same page with him, even down to the draft picks. He was building rapport with Jalen Brooks. Like and even in previous years before, he was trying to build rapport with Simi. He was trying to build rapport with guys who you didn't always see on the field.
Right. Talk about that.
You saw them having, even Jalen Tolbert, when we saw him having quote unquote a struggle year, and we saw just how quickly their relationship, not just on the field, but also, I don't want to say off the field, but also when they're doing training, when they are in practice, they have that close relationship to where Tolbert has grown to be able to kind of like that right hand to Dak, to be able to know where to be on the field when Dak needs that clutch play, and that's very important in those situations.
Exactly. And it's like, so I love what Mickey said, like Dak don't just talk with his mouth. He puts in the time And this year specifically, he put in a lot of money.
Right.
He paid the Navy SEALs to come out and talk to the whole lot of things, took them on a
mentalist
trip.
Exactly.
That manifestation he was doing with buying everything, Louis Vuitton, like that was spending millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of his dollars, not of his money, paying and trying to ensure that we went to the Super Bowl this year. Did it work? No, it didn't. But he puts in the effort. He holds his players accountable.
Right. And himself. Exactly.
And himself accountable. So, of course, when you ask Dak that, he's like, what are you talking about? Because it's like, I do think that it would be good for Dak, for the whole team, really, to get together, but for specifically Micah, Dak, get together at some point this offseason to discuss, like, okay, what do we think the culture, like, how can we counteract the culture issue, the lack of accountability? Because that's really what it is. You need accountability, and you need an emotional leader on the field when things are going on.
Yes, that's a great point, Star. And that's something that a lot of people point out when we're watching the game. We don't see that kind of passion, that kind of just like power on the sideline. Whether they're winning or actually, I think that when they are winning, we do see the guys powered up. We do see the guys fired up, saying, "Hey, let's go out there and get it." And then and there's times when they are kind of down, we do see Dak on the sideline going up and down. Hey, let's go get 60, y'all. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. I'll meet y'all in the end zone. We do see that from Dak, but what I want to see, for me personally, I want to see some of our defensive leaders when we do get down and out in those times where we climb back into the game. What are you going to say to your counterpart on the sideline?
Exactly. And see, that's the type of stuff that Micah talked about, because see, we won't see the sounds of the sideline, but based on what we did see from throughout the season, Dak is constantly talking to his players, constantly talking to the offensive linemen, talking to his wide receivers. We saw him in the game talking to CD like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? We didn't see that from D-Law. We didn't see that from Micah. Exactly. We didn't see Micah and D-Law talking to Damone Clark and like, what are you doing? Are you going to do better? Are you going to step up? Like, we didn't see that at all.
Right. And I'm glad that's an excellent point, Star, because that's one thing and not just what we see with the players, but also, like you said, it comes from the top. Not only do we not see it when it doesn't happen, do we see sounds of the sideline when the Cowboys lose?
No, they do not.
And why not? That's one thing I hope you know what I'm saying?
It's probably some.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about culture. I'm saying, what do our boys look like when they're losing? You know what I'm saying? What do our boys look like when they are facing adversity? That's one thing that we don't. I'm not saying that we don't see from the team when they are down and out, but that's one thing. And even after this post loss, what happened? The guys, I'm sorry, players. I'm not gonna say you guys ran, but y'all went out and went on vacation right after the playoff game. Didn't answer questions. Didn't want to say what happened.
Guess who had to go on the stand? Dak did. That's what I'm saying.
The fans were left asking questions, and we had nothing. But hey, a month later, now I want to speak about it. Like, I'm sorry, but like the fans don't want to wait a month to hear about what happened in the playoff loss from Wild Card Weekend. You know what I'm saying, on Valentine's Day. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to hear what you guys got to say now. Not me.
It's like we wanted.
I want to know what happened back then.
Exactly. We wanted answers at the time. And we didn't get that because y'all was embarrassed. Y'all tucked your tail. But see, guess who had to stand on business? Dak Prescott. That's why I'm like, leave Dak name out. Like Will Smith said, keep my quarterback name out your mouth. That's what I say. My quarterback does everything he's supposed to do. Period. I don't care about mistakes that he makes on the field. All quarterbacks make mistakes. All players make mistakes on the field.
Right.
But we're not going to question Dak's effort. We're not going to question his time. We're not going to question his money, because we know that since he's become the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, he has put in the time, the effort, the money, everything that he needs to build relationships with his players, with his coaches, He's adapted to every coaching regime he's had, every play caller.
Right. And I mean, cut you off. Not just coaching regimes. And no offense to any player, because like I said, everybody in the NFL is there for a reason. But players who were not considered top-notch players,
exactly. He's adjusted to that. He's adjusted to Noah Brick Brown hands.
A lot of scenarios.
Like, come on, man. Like, we just got to cut it out.
Right.
And as far as Jerry and Steven, guys, like, this is what I'm saying with our media. This is why new media, but they'll never allow it because they'll never allow it. But this is why, let me not say never.
And shout out to your hat, shout out to Law Nation, and shout out to new media. Y'all see Star rocking the hat. Y'all see the Star.
Hey, shout out to new media. But this is why I believe it will happen. I'm going to speak positive. I think it will happen eventually where we'll get that access to the players and to the front office because they're not even asking the right questions. Right. You don't ask two billionaires, do you think y'all have a culture? Do you think y'all have a culture issue? And what do you think that? Oh, yes, we do. Our culture, like, come on now. That's not
right. And just like you said, not just two billionaires, but really two owners who are really known to be the only owners involved in the football business. You don't see other owners at the Senior Bowl.
Exactly. The Chiefs
other owners at the combine. You know what I'm saying?
Like, be for real. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, so what did y'all expect, Jerry and Steve? Oh yeah, we got a terrible. Like, that's not the question. Right. You have to, reporters learn how to preface questions. Like, okay, so X and Y and Z has happened. This has continued to happen this amount of years. It was seen that there was players that were hosting parties before y'all even won the game. Like, you gotta give very specifics to address. You can't just leave an open-ended question. I don't know if y'all know, but
not starters either.
By trade, right? So there's different types of questioning, right? When you're questioning your client, you ask open-ended questions, right? Because you just want them to just tell their story and just basically just spew out all their word vomit to the court so that the court can just hear them. You want them to cry on the stand. You want to. But when it comes to the opposing party, you don't ask them open-ended questions. You ask them specific questions that they have to give specific answers to.
Right.
Asking them, do you think that there's a culture issue? Like, that's how you get dumbass answers. And so, guess what? You ask dumbass.
Are you guys gonna go all in? Are you guys gonna go all in this year, Jerry? No, we ain't going all in.
Like, be for real, Clarence Hill. Be for real. You're gonna go all in. Like, okay.
Right. And I don't mean stop the show, but shout out to B Bird, hitting our cash. I'm gonna hit you up, Star, hitting them a cash up at $5. We appreciate you, man. Really appreciate
somebody did send me. Yeah, that you B Bird, Barry Bird.
Shout out to B Bird. We appreciate you.
B Bird for donating to our cash app. We appreciate that 100%.
Yeah, very much so.
That be the media problem. Like, y'all not asking the right. Y'all gotta ask them specific questions. But see, they don't ask those questions because they don't want to get kicked out. That's why. Exactly. They don't want to get kicked out.
And I know we talked about James Slater earlier, but sometimes you gotta be like that. Like, I don't like all her tactics. I definitely don't like how she moves. Like Star mentioned earlier, just certain things you don't do. You know what I'm saying? When you are allowed that access, but I will say that sometimes you do gotta have that, but in different ways. But you do gotta have that kind of that hardness when you
have to hold them accountable. You gotta hold the front office accountable. That's the purpose of the media.
Right. You're supposed to hold McCarthy accountable. Like you said, why not hold the owners accountable in the same way?
But you see the shit. So they constantly hold Mike McCarthy accountable. They constantly hold Dak accountable. But when Kellen Moore was here, they wasn't holding him accountable. When Dan Quinn was here, they wasn't holding him accountable.
Speak.
I get tired. The media
never got any hardball questions or nothing like that in their press conferences.
Why you're going to ask Mike McCarthy, why should the fans buy into you? Ask them, why should they buy into the order? Mike only been here 4 years. Ask them, why should we buy into this front office that's done the same shit for the past 20 plus years? Like, come on now.
Exactly.
You think Jane gonna ask those questions? No, she's not. But she'll love to drop an article on a Wednesday night that
right. Out of
no,
nowhere.
so that you can see. It's for clicks and views. Everything these reporters are doing, I don't care. It's for clicks and views. Right. I don't care how reputable they are. They're doing it because this is when they make their money, because everybody is starving for information. They're starving for something about the freaking Dallas Cowboys. So what does James Slater do on a Wednesday night? No one's doing anything.
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys haven't talked to Dak Prescott. They say they're going to sign Dak Prescott in August.
Right.
This comes out of nowhere.
What's going on? How you doing, Martin Cowboys?
And now you got Martin. I love Martin. That's my guy, Martin. Martin is the GOAT. But that's but see, when they say shit like that, then it sends Twitter into a frenzy. But and then everybody's clicking on Jane. And you know what Jane Slater's doing?
Exactly.
Making in the money.
And another thing to that, never having to answer to it. Because I mean, not having to
they don't have to answer to anything. They don't have to answer to anything. They just drop these dumbass articles about, I heard from this source that they haven't said anything to that, and that they're actually not going to sign him until August. That's what I heard.
Exactly. Like you said, it's one thing to have the access in the locker room, but when you have this platform, like you said, not just because fans are starving for football content, but like I mean, we hear that a lot of people talking, stand on business and stand on what you report. You're putting these articles out, you're putting things out in black and white. You gotta be able to answer for what you do put out there, whether it's true or not, because you gotta have some kind of recourse when people are coming back for answers, or when things go the complete opposite way. Like I don't know if Star you just mentioned on the show, but the media didn't know about Brandon Cooks. The media didn't know about Gilmore coming in. So when you say the Cowboys aren't going to make any moves, but all of a sudden we got 2 free agents who we probably never thought we would acquire.
Right. So they had no idea about it. They had no idea about it. Actually, the first person who reported about Stephon Gilmore coming here was Michael Lombardi. That's not even an insider for us. Exactly. So, like, I'm just be very careful on all these reporters talking about who's getting signed, who's not getting signed, this and that. It's just wait to see what happens, because honestly, even this new rumor that we want Tony Pollard back, and he said he would take less and all of this stuff. It's like, guys, we will see what's going to happen. Free agency starts next week, the real free agency, and we'll see how they move and what they do. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, then we can voice our opinions. But all these articles about what may happen, what this source says is going to happen, like, I wouldn't put too much attention into it, because honestly, all they're trying to do is send Cowboys Nation into a frenzy so that they can click on their article and they get paid, I'm pretty sure, based off of how many clicks and reads they get. Obviously, that's why people have clickbait, because they get paid. So
right, and like Star mentioned, I mean, the biggest sports organization in the world, you're bound to get clicks and views as it is already. So all you have to do, hashtag Cowboys. All you gotta do, hashtag Cowboys.
Exactly.
You're gonna get a click or a view off that somehow, some way.
Exactly.
So, as everybody know, I think it was, this past weekend, just came out the combine, big step, really, I'll say a big step in what I think in the progress of the Cowboys, because I didn't see this coming. I'm gonna be honest with you, just seeing how the Cowboys operated in past years, I saw them hanging on to Tyron Smith another year. They say he's unlikely to come back. I still kind of see a chance, like if he doesn't see, maybe what he, sees in the market, testing the market. I'm sure teams could use him. Like, they always say team, and like Jerry always says, teams are always looking for offensive linemen. So I'm sure there's a team who could utilize him. But like I said, I'm surprised. I thought they would somehow, some way maybe swing it again. Because we saw last year they kind of figured out his formula of not practicing and keeping him on the team, keeping him on the field health-wise. Right. So I just figured that, they might maybe, have him hang around for another year, maybe play backup, maybe play swing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, but, I'm sure he wants to start somewhere. I mean, he's, all pro, you know what I'm saying? Definitely, a Hall of Fame coming up, as soon as he retires. So it's no question that, he deserves a starting position, especially with them, why not? You feel like he almost played a full season last year. Granted, he has had problems in previous years, as of late. So, like I said, I'm definitely surprised, best of luck to him, whether he does, go out to another team or come back, with a slight chance. But like I said, I'm definitely surprised, with Tyron Smith leaving, potentially. Yep. And also with just kind of hook onto that before we start talking about the offensive line, Biadasz possibly leaving as well. We talked about that in other shows too. I know you was big on Biadasz leaving Star, so I'm not gonna say I'm surprised, but I want to get your thoughts on not just Biadasz but Tyron as well, and how you think the future of this offensive line could be looking going into this next year.
So with Tyron, I know he just had an All-Pro year, amazing, great. We figured out a plan to keep him healthy for most of the year. But Tyron should have been gone, guys, like 4 or 5 years ago. That's just
as prime, yeah.
The bottom line. Like, we should have gotten rid of Tyron years ago. Because the best ability is availability. And having Tyron here has messed up our offensive line continuity for years, because he's either going to miss half the season, a full season. I think this year was the most games he's played since maybe 2014, 2015. Right. And the only reason why that worked is because we literally had to stop practicing him. We literally had to stop practicing him, which means that we can't, Tyler Smith or whoever that left guard is can't practice the combos with him. They're practicing the combos with, who do we run? Chuma Udoga.
Yeah. The
offensive line is all about synergy. It's all about everybody moving as one.
Right.
So for Tyron, because he's this all-pro vet, it works out for him. But what about everybody else on the line? You know what I'm saying? This is why we should have gotten rid of him. And I will say this: we're not the only teams that are getting rid of their injury-prone players. The Bills, the Packers, are the two prominent teams that I see moving on from.
Right, Seattle too. I saw Jamal Adams. He's being. I don't know if he'll go back again either.
Exactly, these organizations are cleaning house because it's we love you guys and y'all are great when y'all play, but what's the chances that y'all are actually gonna be able to play well for us? And I'm sorry, but Tyron Smith, his ability has not really ever been in the question. But I did remember in that 2021 playoff game when he came back how he was terrible. You know what I'm saying? And he got his shit rocked by Nick Bosa, him and Lyle Collins. So, I just think I love Tyron. I'm sad because yes, it is another Hall of Fame player that we're gonna lose. If we don't re-sign him, it's another Hall of Fame player that we're gonna lose that we didn't win a Super Bowl with. I'm sorry about it.
And that seemed to be a pattern. We see Zeke had to leave.
It's a pattern. DeMarcus
Ware, he had to go to the Broncos land. Like you just mentioned, Lyle Collins, he ended up leaving. We see a lot, and I'm not saying, I got to take that back. Like you said, all pro. I'll say Tyron Smith, Zeke Elliott. We saw him leave. Not saying he was at his prime when he left, but these really, kind of just like these staple players.
Right. We've had so many greats leave here.
Right.
And don't have Super Bowl. So I understand that sentiment for anybody who's upset about that. I'm upset about it too. Exactly. But the reality is, guys, trust me, I've watched the film. Y'all are welcome to watch the film on y'all's own as well. But our offensive line, we've got to get younger.
Right.
We've got to. I'm sorry.
I think it was today on. I think it was on Talking Cowboys, where actually it might have been the Players Lounge, where they said that it's better to do this offensive line carousel now, early in the season before you even get to team activities. I'm saying to be able to work out where do you want these guys.
Exactly. We need to do it now. It really is time, guys. We need to go younger. We need to be able to run the ball.
Right.
And for our new blocking scheme, Tyron can't do it. Right? You know what I'm saying? When we were just an outside zone team, Tyron could do it. But we're not an outside zone team. We have moved to a gap power run scheme. He cannot do it. And you don't even want Tyron. He's such a fragile person. You don't want him on the ground knocking people over and pancaking people because he will hurt himself. He has to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and some of his injuries have come from him being run up on from behind from other players. So that contact, like you said, asking your tackle, like you said, was already fragile to knock the players down. Well, that also brings on contact into him as well. Exactly.
That's what we be thinking about. Because yes, he's a phenomenal pass blocker when he's available. But where is he at as a run blocker? Not that great. And a lot of that is because he is so fragile. You don't want him hitting and mauling people at all. So wish the best of luck to Tyron. I'm sure he'll now become a Kansas City Chief or a Bengal or whatever. Wherever he chooses to go, God bless him. You know, I wish the best for him. But we've got to be able to run the ball, and I think that includes removing him out of the lineup. Same thing with Tyler Biadasz.
Right.
I mean, since last year, every time you look at something going wrong, it's because Tyler Biadasz. You know what I'm saying? He's getting pushed back. He's on the ground. He can't get pushed. He can't sustain blocks. Like, he is just all, and I know everybody, he got a Pro Bowl. Yeah, he got a Pro Bowl as an alternate, and that's because he gave up sacks. It just means he dies slowly, shout out to Vash Lombardi. He's a guy that dies slowly. But this year, when he had that injury, he was just downright awful.
Yeah.
He was awful.
Right now, I was saying it didn't help that they were trying to force Pollard up the middle behind Biadasz. So
he's not
and not that it's all on Biadasz, like the whole, we saw, several struggles with the line throughout the year.
It's not just Biadasz, it was, Zach Martin too. Ooh, I know y'all don't want to talk about it, but y'all don't want to talk about it, but Zach Martin too.
Speaking of all perennial players, coming up on their time, I'm saying, we got to be thinking about him too in the next year or so. You know what I'm saying? So talking about offensive line carousel, we have two potential starters going out this year and a third one coming for the next couple of years. Like, this is something that
I think this is Zach's last year under contract. So it's like we could bring him back. It's like, this is my thing about Zach, guys. Like, and I know y'all look at guys like, oh, well, look at Andrew Whitworth. He played till he was 40. Look at Jason Kelsey. He played till he was almost 40. Yeah, those guys were still playing like. Have y'all seen Jason Kelsey play center? This man was still, first of all, he's still fast at 36. Still not pancaking people, knocking people over. Like,
right. We don't see Zach Martin getting that second level.
Exactly.
Not like Kelsey.
To the second level, Zach is getting beat by no-name defensive tackles. I'm sorry, guys, but he's regressing. And he started regressing slightly last year, but y'all keep getting blinded by all-pro nods, which is at this point, Zach Martin is getting all-pro nods by name. It is not by what he's doing on the field.
Right.
Like, he's getting it because he's Zach Martin. That's it. But when you see him on the field, he is regressing. It started in 2022. It got worse in 2023. And he's going to be worse in 2024. Trust me, he's going to be worse. He's not going up. He's going down. It's just the natural fall of things. Right. I'm sad about it because we didn't get the longevity out of him like a Jason Kelsey or like an Andrew Whitworth. We didn't get that. Those guys, they could have kept playing, but they're like, listen, I got to retire. I'm 40. I'm almost 40 years old. I got to retire. Right. I got kids that are 3 years old. Like, I got to get out of this. That's the only reason why they left. It's not because like they regressed. It's because they decided I gotta leave this. Like, as if I know I'll just stay here forever. But with Zach Martin, unfortunately, his regression hit faster than those guys. And so another reason why I was mad today is because I'm like, look at this. We let two guys that we literally made and developed, Connor Williams and Connor McGovern, walk out the building. And turns out both of them are freaking centers. Position in college. We never tried them at center. We only played them at left guard, which was not either of their positions. And then, but we developed them into pretty decent left guards, even though their true position was, I think for Connor Williams, it was tackle center, and for McGovern, it was right guard center. We never played them at those positions the whole time that they were here. And then we didn't trade them. We just let them walk. So the most we get is some crappy compensatory pick for him.
Right, which kind of seems crazy at this point because we always hear well, I'm not gonna say always, but I know in the most recent offseason, we always hear things about position flex and trying guys out at different positions. So
that's what Mike McCarthy says. But then when
right.
we see the offensive line, like look what they did to Tyler Smith. Why didn't Tyler Smith get kicked out to left tackle, but they kept running Chuma Adoga out there, even though it was clear that Chuma Adoga was better at guard? See, that's also the culture shit that we talking about with the front office.
Right.
Because they make these decisions based on money. It don't be about what's the best football decision. It's about, well, if we move him to tackle, then he can request tackle money. And so we can keep him at guard. Like, that's what they do. Because Mike McCarthy is all about offensive line versatility. Right. Mike Solari, our new offensive line coach, he's all about offensive line versatility. But for some reason, we're not seeing any of our players switch positions.
Moved around. Right. Exactly.
Locked into this one position. So when your coaches are saying they want this, but it's not happening, it's the front office.
Right.
It's the front office.
I think that's a great point.
So
and speaking of front office, like I mean, we saw the news about Dak's extension come up around the combine. Of course, we heard different, and this time around we heard different answers. Like a Senior Bowl, we've seen Jerry, Steve talk about okay, we're gonna take a holistic view. We're not gonna be discussing anything. We're kind of quiet. We win football games and regular season. This, all that, and the third. And all of a sudden,
a bunch of different games.
Right. Well, all of a sudden here at the combine, Jerry said, "Oh, we don't know what's going to happen." Of course, Steven is still kind of tight-lipped a little bit, and just recently we heard Dak say that he's confident, that it's going to happen. Both sides know that's good for the number. So, it's definitely, at least for me, a little bit more relieving, to hear Dak say it's going to happen, because I ain't gonna lie to y'all. When I heard, Jerry talk about something we don't know, and Jerry talk about, Steven talk about something, well, we don't have to get it done right now. Like, I ain't gonna lie, because like I said, I kind of took a step back on social media. But when I saw that, like, I ain't gonna lie, I tweeted out, like, you know what? At this point, just blow it up, because I'm done. I'm so over the talking. Like, if y'all gonna do something. But if you're not, leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? Just wait till, what I think is this week before free agency actually starts kicking off. I think it's next Wednesday where it actually kicks off the 13th. So like until then, just keep quiet. But like Star said, we all know Jerry and Steven will be out there talking. They got to get their 2 cents in, because they got to get
they got to make headlines. Like at this point, when Jerry and Steven talk. And guys, they've been doing this type of stuff for years. Don't forget the Zeke Who. Don't forget D-Law is no Khalil Mack. Don't forget any of that stuff. Okay? That's what they do. When they play hardball, the only time we didn't see them do it last year was with Diggs and Terrence Steele. And you want to know why? I thought it was, they're keeping their mouth closed because they're following Mike McCarthy and they're trying to do things. Turns out the deals were terrible that the players got. It was basically like pushover deals.
Yeah,
it was bend over type of deal. So it's like, of course, that's why they didn't talk about it, because the players just caved in and signed the deal. That's like wasn't that great. Right. Trevon Diggs, he would have broken the market if he decided to go anywhere else.
Exactly.
He didn't want to go anywhere else. So he took a not that great deal. And I know, well, he's getting paid like top 5 APY or whatever. But I'm like, when you look at the way the deal is structured, it's not that great. And I feel like it's the same for Terrence Steele. So it's just like, but that's what this front office does. Whenever you go against the grain, this is how the front office handles contracts. And I hate it, but this is just how it is. If you bend over for them, they're not going to solely integrate you. A lot of people like to bring up, because they're like, I think, front office, they don't believe in Dak, they hate Dak. I'm like, it's not about not belief and hate. It's about, if in Dallas, they believe that every player should bend the knee because this is Dallas. Right. They're like, we're the richest sports franchise. You're going to get these deals and all this stuff. So you need to bend the knee. But see, this is the issue. The players that bent the knee, you see that Steven and them keep asking them to bend the knee more and more and more and more and more. It doesn't stop.
Yep.
You don't bend the knee, you're gone. This is why people you think Dak didn't see Romo going on the boat, Romo playing golf with Jerry, Romo doing all of this stuff. And look how they did Romo. Look what they did to Romo.
Yep.
Like, get real. You know what I'm saying? Like, being nice to the front office doesn't work, right? And so if they will let you push them into that first contract. But when it comes to the second contract, they pretty much look at Jalen Smith, look at Zeke, look at what they did to D-Law. They will be asking you to take a pay cut. And if you say, I'm not going to take a pay cut, you're gone. That's how it works. That's how they do the contract. So I know we love CD and Mike and all these people, but guarantee you, if they push it to the limit and get their big contract, come next contract negotiations, they're going to say, oh, you kind of dipped in your, their stars, don't pass the ball to them. They'll start doing their typical bull crap. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, you've regressed. Take a pay cut. And then the players are like, nah, I ain't take a pay cut. And then they're gone. They release them.
Right, exactly. And just like you said, and then we end up losing the player who, depending how long they spent their time here, we end up losing the player who, like you said, who they develop, who they groom. And all of a sudden, you don't get to see the end of their career. You don't get to see them retire a Cowboy. You don't get to see your great. You don't get to see your great Tyron Smith retire a Cowboy. That's really why I'm shocked, because how can you really envision Tyron Smith anywhere else?
And Tyron Smith gave them signed the most team-friendly deal a person could sign.
Right. But where did he got all incentives last year?
But where did he get him? Where did he get him? You know why he's not re-signing? Because Stephen Jones is probably saying, we want to pay you vet minimum. You see what I'm saying? That's what they do.
Right.
That's what they do, guys. So it's not
and they do it with just like you said, started to do with a lot of their players. So they end up, by the time that second contract comes around, they end up having to pick and choose who to sign. And they, like you said, like Stephen loves to say, oh, well, with the cap, you can't get everything you want. You can't do everything you want.
Exactly. And they start playing that. Exactly. They start playing that game.
Exactly. And like you said, I'm uncontrolled, but not just playing the game, but they end up being stuck in these positions because they do that. They do that to these players, but they wait to the very last minute.
They wait to the last minute.
They have to pay them the large contract.
That's what they do. They play hardball with these contracts. Steven plays hardball with contracts because he believes, like I said, every player should bend the knee. But the problem is you can't bend the knee in Dallas, because once you bend the knee, you will forever keep being asked to bend the knee over and over and over again until you're left with no self-dignity. That's how it works. The reason why they hate that is because Dak protected himself. He protected himself from them being able to do that to him.
Exactly. And still, and that's actually a point that I think that, like you said, like you mentioned earlier, Star, like they don't really necessarily speak down on the player. But one thing I'm kind of noticing with this offseason is that, like, Jerry isn't speaking down on Dak, but we notice he keeps saying, I know Dak can play better. I know Dak can play better. Mm-hmm. Dak can do this better. Dak can do even at the
he said it. He said this. Everything around Dak can get better, but Dak can, and I'm hopeful because Dak can get better.
You hear that?
Yeah.
That's the message. That's the message. Well, okay, we can pay you all this money, but should we? You can still play better. So do you deserve that high contract?
That's how they play. Why you think they got David Moore to put out those hit articles? Blake Bortles has a better playoff record than Dak Prescott. Right. Those low hanging fruit bullshit ass articles. Because what they're trying to do is divide the fan base. Because that's all the leverage that they have. They have no contract leverage. I know, shout out to Outlaw Cowboy. He put out, like, they don't necessarily, Dak doesn't have all the leverage anymore. But I'm like, he pretty much still does.
Right. Because, are you really going to take $50 million? You know what I'm saying?
He was saying because he's like, they don't have to extend them and they could still get under the cap and have like $20 million to spend in free agency. But we're like, $20 million is not a lot.
Right.
First of all, if you don't extend Dak this year, you have to pay him $50 million in 2025 and he gets to walk. Like, there's no leverage for the
Exactly.
There's zero leverage. Even the kid that they signed, Trey Lance, so stupid. They signed Trey Lance, or they traded for Trey Lance, and guess who's up for contract at the end of 2024? Trey Lance.
Gave him a whole fourth. They gave him a whole fourth.
Pay that, or they got to pay Trey Lance. So it's like, you're an idiot. Now, if Trey Lance he's fresh on a rookie deal, then it's like, oh, okay, all right. but you still got to pay pretty much every single one of our quarterbacks is on a 1-year deal this year, guys.
Exactly. And I'm sure they think they do, like you said, they think they're doing it for leverage, but you run out and pick up Trey Lance's contract for what?
Like,
what do you to have a competition with Cooper Rush?
We're paying Trey Lance $5 million this year. We have the most expensive backup quarterback room in the NFL. And it's like,
right, but you're gonna cry about what? Like you said, possibly paying Tyron Smith a vet minimum, but you're gonna pick up Trey Lance's contract, bro.
It's all for leverage because Jerry just did that on a whim, and it's so stupid. And I know people think like it's Jerry and Steven. No, it was Jerry that got Trey Lance.
Right.
It was Jerry.
Just like I tweeted out, like, oh, all of a sudden you didn't speak to Mike McCarthy, but all of a sudden it's, oh well, we knew what we was doing. We knew we would be paying them now.
See, when Jerry did that press conference after we got Trey Lance, like, go back and watch that press conference and look at the other like front office people's faces. They look pissed, like, idiot, like, really? Idiot, like, what are you doing? Like, it was just dumb.
That was crazy. Dumb. That would be one of the greatest things, like that. You just
Jerry was desperate for a leverage move, and so y'all, I'm telling y'all what Jerry gonna do. Let's say that they really don't. Let's say they don't extend Dak before the summer. Let's say James Slater's article is true, which I don't think it is because they're not gonna allow James Slater to be right. But let's say James Slater's right, and they don't sign Dak till August. All they want to do, guys, and y'all gonna see it, they just want to start a QB controversy to divide the fans because that's all they have. That is literally all they have. So what they're gonna do, Dak is gonna go to Cabo because I don't think Dak's gonna show up to training camp without a contract. So Dak's gonna go to Cabo. CD might too because
that's what I was gonna say earlier because he's on. Yeah, he think he's gonna hold out.
Why haven't they
talking about the next week? But it's like CD not gonna show up with a 1-year contract. And
because they're waiting, they're being idiots and waiting for Justin Jefferson to get paid. CD can ask for more from Justin Jefferson, like
right. And you know what I heard today, Star? They said, what's his name? Mike Evans got like 30 something. I mean, no, he got like I think like 25.
He has 25. So CD and Justin Jefferson will be getting backup QB money. They will be getting paid $30 million APY.
Exactly.
So, but
they're really waiting for Evans to get his contract.
They're putting it off because they think that they got the leverage. They're idiots. So it's like Dak and CD, they're gonna go to Cabo, wherever they're gonna go on the trip. They ain't going to the train, just like Zach Martin. They gonna stay out because they're gonna be like, I need my money. And so you know they're gonna have Trey Lance.
Like you said, like, hey, it worked for Zach Martin.
Exactly. So you know what they're gonna do, guys, and y'all gonna fall for it. I'm not gonna fall for it, but y'all gonna fall for it. They're gonna have Trey Lance, and in the QB1 position because Dak's not here, and Jerry's gonna spin it. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, Trey Lance, he looks so good out there, and he definitely deserves to be a starter somewhere. He's so good." And y'all gonna get in a trance because Trey Lance. Shout out to Wild Nation. He said Trey Lance can really hit those accuracy drills. Where they throw the ball in the hoop. So. Woo! Y'all gonna start.
And we heard from Jerry's mouth himself saying that, well, we know what Trey Lance is as a person, but as a player, we don't know much about him.
Exactly. So y'all gonna be
the contract.
Exactly. So y'all gonna be caught up in the accuracy drills, and then Trey Lance, he gonna throw a deep ball to Jalen Tolbert. Y'all gonna be like, oh, that's exactly what they want. And y'all gonna fall for it because y'all gonna be like, maybe we should let an all-pro MVP quarterback go, and then we could just sign Trey Lance. The guy who barely played in college and high school. But we can bank our future on Trey Lance because he really got that strong arm. He got a stronger arm than Dak. And he got this and that. And he's more athletic than Dak. You're gonna start hearing it. There might even be some content creators that's gonna start. Trust me. I think everybody's gonna slightly start getting fooled. I'm not getting fooled by it because I don't give a damn about you. I don't care about it. But trust me, there's gonna be some people be like, "Oh no, Trey Lance looking good out there. He's looking good in the 5-on-5 drill and the 7-on-7 drills and blah 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 blah." I'm gonna tell you, that's the only leverage that Jerry had. What they should do is ship Trey Lance's ass out of here to the Vikings and get us our picks back, that we can get more draft.
Okay.
Because this
right,
is
they better if they so-called believe, love their draft capital and love, draft guys love, drafting, developing, believing in their own guys and all this. Okay, so what moves are you gonna make in the draft? Like you said, Star, like are y'all gonna use it to your advantage? Like I don't know if they run out and sign Trey Lance and then turn around and trade him, but I mean we never know.
We only have a first, a second, and a third round pick. And then our next pick is like
the 7th round,
like 6th or 7th round.
Yep. Yeah. I think I heard today we have around
quite a few holes too,
and then two 7th round picks. We have no 4th, 5th, or 6th round pick.
Right.
So that's a huge gap.
So we got no pick, and then you got a front office who doesn't play in free. So this is what we're trying to tell y'all. Like, it's not about Trey Lance being good. We've had two for the past 18 years.
Right.
We've had two multiple Pro Bowl, All-Pro, MVP type quarterbacks. For the last 18 years, we've had that.
Right.
So if Trey Lance is that, great, fabulous. Trey Lance is that.
But they lucked into it. They lucked into those two quarterbacks.
They lucked into those. So say we lucked into Trey Lance. Say Trey Lance is gonna be a Pro Bowl, All-Pro quarterback. Let's just say that, right? That doesn't matter because of how we team build. Like that doesn't matter.
Right.
We've done
right. I mean, we were just
VP quarterback. We've been done that for 18 years. The problem is how they build the teams around.
Exactly.
So
we were literally just here talking about how we could possibly have a offensive line carousel for our current quarterback. So what are we trying to plan for our future quarterback if he's going to be that?
I'm telling y'all, if we don't wake up, it's going to be this. We're going to start hearing. Let's say we let Dak walks, he becomes a Steeler. Now we got Trey Lance, and you know what? Stephen and Jerry they're going to start peeling the same shit. Well, we would have went out in free agency, but we had to pay Trey a lot of money. I'm telling y'all that it's the same song and dance. It's not about the quarterback. It's about putting pressure on the front office to build the team properly, to stop castrating and sullying and denigrating their coaches.
Right.
That's the problem with the front office. If they could just back out of football operations and leave it to the coaches and leave it to Will McClay, this would be a great organization because Jerry and Steven do a great job with building the brand. They do a great job with that. That's what they should be focused on. They shouldn't be focused on football decisions. That is the problem. They're involved in football decisions, and that's why we haven't gotten anywhere for years. But y'all somehow keep thinking that it's the quarterback when we have, again, for the past 18 years, we've had multiple Pro Bowl, All-Pro, MVP type quarterback.
Right.
Like, they're not the problem. I promise you, with everything that I have, they are not the problem. But
exactly, if
y'all keep believing that they are, they'll just remove Dak. They'll put Trey Lance or whatever rookie quarterback in there, and then we'll hope, maybe there'll be a Pro Bowl, All-Pro type quarterback, and then they'll be blaming them when they have to pay them that we couldn't go out and do this because when you're paying your quarterback $60 million, you just can't do it.
Right. Right, and this last piece of news that actually happened today. We saw them, speaking of contract, we saw them pick up Parsons' 5th-year option, and I was surprised they have him at the end. Before we get out of here, what's your thoughts on that, Star? Because
I don't know. They said that the CBA determines it.
Oh, really?
The CBA or the play? They're the CBA. No, not the CBA,
but something like where it depends on where the player was drafted or something like that.
Yeah,
I saw that tweet by.
Basically, they're saying that it's not. Let me see. Ty Archer posted, but they're saying that it's not up to Jerry and Steven. Like Jerry and the front office doesn't decide it. They said it's somebody else that decides it. I think it'll be.
Yeah, you did actually tweet that earlier.
Let me see, Todd Archer. Why is he not popping up? Oh, it's hot. I'm burning up in here. Come on, Todd Archer. I don't know. My phone being slow as hell, but I think
I got pulled up. Yeah, it says the tender offer is determined by the CBA, not the team choice to pick the position if a player is used at multiple spots. It's pretty much said any subsequent draft. Let me see. Any subsequent draft, he was selected to 2 or more Pro Bowls on the original ballot during any of his first 3 seasons. The paragraph 5 salary for the player's 5th-year option shall equal the franchise tender that applies in the league year that is the 4th year of the rookie's contract for players at the same position at which the rookie participated in the most plays during his 3rd league year. So I guess he spent. We know under Dan Quinn that he spent a lot of time at DN, especially in more recent years. I mean, he barely got any LB in any linebacker snaps last season, so we know he spent the majority of his snaps at DN. So I guess I should say I'm not surprised that he. I guess I shouldn't say that I'm surprised, but I just figured this year we would see, hopefully see what Zimmer would be using Parsons as. But if they picked up his 5th-year option, they kind of pretty much put him as a DN. So yeah, it definitely look like we're going to be looking for some linebackers. And do you think they'll still use Parsons at linebacker with this designation?
Yeah, or I think you can still. I think it's just I think this is just based on like how he gets paid. Like that's it. I don't think that it's gonna affect at all how Zimmer uses him. I mean, whatever. I mean, because he was listed as a linebacker, and then we played him mostly at DE. I don't think that matters. I think you can play your players however you want to play them. I think literally that designation was literally just affecting the money, and everybody thought it was Jerry and Steven because for some reason it's cheaper. The 5th-year option for a defensive end is cheaper than for a linebacker. Weirdly, I don't know why that is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So people were thinking that it was like Stephen Jones being cheap again, but
I was just gonna say, I bet he was on board with that. Then
that's why they were like, no, it's not. It's Stephen Jones and them don't got nothing to do with it. It's determined by the people. So this is where we at, today. But anyway, appreciate you guys rocking with us tonight. Me and Mickey, we talked about a lot of stuff. Go ahead.
Offseason, just been jumping so far. Hopefully next week, like we mentioned earlier, next week Wednesday is when free agency kicks off. Seeing some reporters put out we may not be, or Cowboys may not be first and foremost out there with the big buyers. And actually, before we get out of the last couple of days, we have seen a lot of those big names who we kind of were excited about. Whitfield, I think Burns too as well was franchise tag. We've seen a lot of players tagged by their
a lot of teams. A lot of teams are. It's crazy how these teams are not getting rid of their like all Pro Bowl. Players. I mean, no one's getting them. So, but it will be interesting to see what this front office does in free agency. We do have a lot of holes. So, I mean, they got to.
I don't know. Like we haven't seen in recent years where they do trade ups or trade downs. But like you mentioned earlier, if they're not going to be big dabblers in free agency, I mean, where else are you going to make your moves at? You can't go in the draft.
Exactly. So it's like if they want to So if they want to have any hope, like they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough. We don't have enough draft picks to fill our holes. So I don't know. We'll see what this front office does. But if it's a bunch of bullshit, then we're gonna call it out. Like plain and simple.
And it's only about a week left, or what they say about about 6 days where they can where they actually have to if they want to sign Dak's extension. So we're gonna find out soon.
Exactly. We're gonna find out how they're gonna do it. And if they want to play stupid games, they're gonna get stupid results. And I'm sorry, but like this year, I'm not going to be drinking the Kool-Aid and selling dreams or something like that. Because if I know our team's not properly built in the off season,
and we're going to know early, like from this starting point on, if they decide to extend Dak, if they decide to make moves of free agency,
it's like even if they wait till August, like look at that distraction,
right.
It's just like we'll see what they do, and if they do stupid stuff, like I said, I will be calling it out. You're not gonna hear no Super Bowl, nothing from me, because I was doing that last season and saying this unit was gonna be great and this, and I'm like, I ain't doing none of that shit this year. We'll see. I'm gonna make my judgments from what I see on the field.
Yeah,
that's just what we gotta do, because last year we just drank too much of the Kool-Aid, and then we ended up getting disappointed. But the proof was in the pudding. We just couldn't see it because we believe.
Yeah, and we want to encourage more fans to kind of be like that. Like, not saying don't drink the Kool-Aid, but just keep your eyes open.
Right.
Like earlier, keep your eyes open to how they talk, how they speak, how they use their words. Like we know how they operate already as it is.
They do. Like, pay attention to how the team is playing in season, like in big moments. Like, all of that stuff will point you to, are you even going to make the playoffs? And if you do make the playoffs, like, how are you going to play?
Exactly.
So, as far as
when just to close out, like with a lot of these coaches on 1-year deals, we got Dak. We got McCarthy, the assistants they hired.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. It's already so much negative stuff that's over our team, just for the simple fact that our coach is on a 1-year deal. All of the assistant coaches are on 1-year deal. They're playing the game with Dak's contract. They're playing the game with CD's contract. I don't know, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what this office does. But if they want anybody to be having, they love selling hopium, so they're gonna have to do something.
Right. Yeah.
They're gonna have to do something to get the fans to believe, because if not, the fans won't be believing. I'm sorry, but people are still angry about Green Bay, and they should, to be honest, because it just destroyed the fan base. I mean, even I was saying crazy stuff like, we can't re-sign Dak. I mean, and I left those tweets up because I'm like, I deleted some of them because I was going off. But I'm like, I'm saying that, like, we can't re-sign Dak. We were having a full-blown meltdown because we were literally completely and utterly rebellious.
I mean, that's what happens when you have pretty much all levels of your organization not on the same page, and not, like you said, like we mentioned earlier in the show, not being held accountable for their respective job in this organization, for moving, for like front office always states, with our job to make sure we build the team. Well, make sure you build the team appropriately. As a head coach, make sure you come up with the right game plan. As a quarterback, make sure you execute. The receivers got to make sure you're on the same page with the quarterback. It's like to preach during the season. If you do, like, if everyone that does their job, it should work out right.
Right. To make sure if everybody does their job, but unfortunately, we had a defensive coordinator that sabotaged us. But I won't get into that tonight. But I just think ultimately we will see, how things pan out. But it's okay. Like, hold the anger in your heart still. It's like, remember, it's just like in Game of Thrones when she said the North remembers. Like, you got to remember Green Bay. We got to remember Green Bay, and so that we never just in Buffalo, but really Green Bay, so that we never blindly just drinking the Kool-Aid again. Because, like I said, it would have you saying crazy stuff. I think I even said, like, let's trade Micah. I said a lot of crazy stuff. I was angry as hell. I'm not gonna lie, like, I was fully confident that we were going to beat Green Bay. Fully. Like, you can see it, the videos are up. I was drinking, I was rejoicing, and we got completely embarrassed.
Right. I'm with you, and you already know, Star, but you're not alone. We had Cowboys Nation was definitely on the same page as you, because how they play all season. Yeah, so we just gotta be mindful of how our Cowboys operate. Like you said, we just gotta keep open eyes going forward. Going to the 2024 season, and in future years coming, because we're going to see some of these people. Hopefully see some of the staff, see some of these players going forward. Like you said, team building is going to be important. Whether they're on 1-year deals or not, team building is always going to be important in how the organization is how they're going to move forward. I'm saying, because it's always important to have that consistency.
Yep.
But like Star said, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Like we finally back. Hopefully we'll be definitely back on the weekly schedule. Bringing back you guys content every week. Like you said, Cowboy season is still alive and well. We are in the off season. We got free agency coming up, draft around the corner as well. So it's definitely about to start picking up steam. So it's never really been a slow season, but it's definitely about to start picking up now. So before we get out of here, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the share button. If you guys listening on Twitter, give us a like, give us a retweet. I haven't checked your followers, Star, but I'm definitely still on the journey trying to get 200 subscribers. I'm one subscriber away.
I'm still on the journey. You 1 subscriber away. I'm still like 20 something. So Well, I don't know what I did, like 179. Like I'm like, yeah, like 20 something away. So yeah, y'all help me. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna get back into things. I had a lot of stuff going on in my day job, so hadn't been able to go live as much. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I haven't really been inspired that much. You know, I haven't been inspired that much to really do content, but I think I'm able to get back on the horse. Things should start. The truth should start coming out because it's like I don't want to report on rumors, you know. My brothers and sisters who do it, you know, because they do it, but I just don't feel inspired by that. I don't want to put out any content that I'm not inspired, that, you know, I'm not really feeling, because it's like I do this because I love it. I don't do this because, you know, I get money from this or anything like that. Like the other content creators, they get super chat. Their channels are big enough so that they get, you know, some type of compensation. Their Twitters are big enough to where they get, even if it's just $10, they get some type of compensation. I don't get nothing besides y'all's donations, and thank you.
I mean, we do appreciate it, and you guys' time as well. We definitely appreciate you guys' time being here as well. It's just like you said, we all need a break. You know what I'm saying? Like Star said, you know, we just need time to step back and like I said, just speaking for me, honestly, I was just really just frustrated with my Cowboys. Like I did have a lot of personal things going on, and so why I wasn't going live, but I'm not gonna lie, the Cowboys loss was a part of that, because like before we get just quickly before we get out of here, like I mentioned this, you know, as much as we kind of get to this team, you know, between not just September and December or January, but
you went to 2 games this year. Like you give a lot of time, you give a lot of money, a lot of effort. It's a lot of time, guys. Like making
and you do start not taking it personal, but like you said, when you're giving that time, you know, you are giving your money, not just buying things, but going to games, going to camp. You know, me and Star are both definitely active last season, so you know, it just I'm sure for other Cowboys fans as well, other content creators out there, you start feeling like you have that kind of connection with the team. So yeah, we do feel that let down just a little bit more. It does hurt just a little bit more when you feel like you invested that time in, like, damn, like your team doesn't.
Exactly. You spend your time, your money, your effort, and it's like your team goes and does that. It was just
right. And then no explanation behind it. So you just, I'm not gonna like me personally as a fan, I just felt like, you know, like, and the Cowboys owe us anything, but I did feel like, you know, I just wanted a little bit more from our, you know, from our
They do owe us. They owe us because this organization would be nothing without the fans. Like it's because of the fans, like the fans that created the America's team, and all, you know, it's the fans that go to the games and pay all this money for the memorabilia and all this stuff. Like we put so much into this team. And you know, we deserve respect. You know what I'm saying? So, but we'll see what the front office does. But you know, we love our team because our team was something before the Joneses, and you know, it'll be something after it. You know, we just want, and it's not like, and I'll say this, and we can get out because I do gotta go. But I don't hate Jerry and Steven. Like they have good qualities. There's some things that are just bad about them. And I'm like, if y'all could just change this, like we could be a lot better. But I don't know what it's going to take to get them. But I think what it's going to take is for us to just keep speaking out and up, because so that we can get the results that we want. But anyway, thank you guys. Love y'all. Y'all can see all my social medias down in my description. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for you guys' time. Hope you guys have a great rest of the night. We'll see you guys next time.